Welcome to another episode of L Liberators. Why do adults act like children? If it's you and you're acting like a child, what is it that's controlling you? What's causing you to do the things that you do that are a detriment to your life? Is it fear? Is it pride? Is it your past trauma welcome to another episode of L Liberators. Why do adults act like children? If it's you and you're acting like a child, what? Okay, here we go. Jeez, Kev. Did you hear that?
I did.
All right. Anyway, is it your past trauma that you refuse to confront? See, too many of us are grown in age but not in wisdom, walking around with childish attitudes, childish reactions, and childish thinking. But here's the thing: when do we put away childish things? So, since we are a Christian country, we say we're supposed to go by Christian laws, Christian biblical laws, or whatever the case may be. So we got to go to the book and see how we're supposed to govern ourselves. And it says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So why are so many people still stuck? Why are so many people still throwing tantrums, holding grudges, refusing to take responsibility for their actions? Why are so many people sabotaging their own relationships, their own success, their own peace, and their own families? In today's conversation, we're going to expose the truth about emotional immaturity, self sabotage, and the spiritual strongholds that keep people trapped in a childish mindset. We're going to dive into real life examples, maybe even situations you can relate to. And by the end of this, we hope you walk away with the wisdom, the conviction, and the tools to break free from childish behaviors that are keeping you from the life you truly deserve. So let's talk about it, Kev. We're gonna get right into, because I see this a lot where so many people are acting childish and refuse to take responsibility for their childish behavior. So we try to give us an example that that'll start us off.
All right, so I had a client who got a young lady pregnant, and in the midst of her getting pregnant, they had conversations about not having the baby. And so then she decided she wanted to, no, to keep the baby, and but then she wasn't getting the the help she thought that she deserved from him, but she knew the situation. They had a conversation about what it was, how it's going to be. But she thought if I keep the baby, he'll do different, he'll be different. So one of the things you said in your introduction was the temper tantrums. So then one thing she did was have a tantrum. So it was time for the baby shower, and the baby done. So she had sent invitations out to him, his family about the baby shower. None of his family was going to the baby shower. He wasn't going to the baby shower because he had something to do in another city. And she got upset. And she then commenced to texting him and his mother saying, me and my son don't need neither one of y'all. You know, y'all cause came to the baby shower and y'all chose not to. Y'all showing y'all don't love me or our child. So we don't need neither one of y'all. Now that's the tantrum. So now you saying that, but now you don't want to be held accountable for the words that you just said. So
Yeah,
now you say all this, then after the baby shower, now you still want this man, and you still want the the future grandmother to be part of the child's life, but yet
yeah,
you just said that y'all didn't need them.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So
And
where did the childish behavior come in at? So do you think the childish behavior is what she said or what she did, or where?
what she said, what she did,
Yeah,
because I feel like she threw a tantrum because she didn't get what she wanted.
yeah, yeah,
And I feel like kids are the ones who throw tantrums.
yeah,
Kids, because at the end of the day, if you have an adult conversation and you already understand what's going to be in that relationship, there's no need to throw a tantrum because you already understand what the program is.
yeah.
But yeah, you throw a tantrum anyway. If I throw this tantrum, I'm going to get what I want.
But why do people do that? I guess that's the issue with me. Why is it that they quickly say things out of their mouth and don't mean it? If they say, I guess it's to make them feel better about themselves,
They,
and
you
then
know,
come back.
yeah, I think a lot of times it's like if they say it because they think if I say it, they'll potentially change the person's mind to
Gotcha.
get what they
Yep,
want.
that's true.
And so for me, if I'm having a disagreement with anybody, male or female, and I feel that the emotions is getting a little bit too high, whether
Yeah,
on my part or their part or both parts, I'm going to table the conversation
yeah,
and say, let's have this conversation at a later date. I'm getting angry, or you're getting angry, or we both get angry, and something could be said by either one of us that we can't take back.
yeah.
A lot of times when I do that, the female does not like that.
Nah, nah,
They
100%.
like they like, who are you? I said, you can't have a conversation. I said, you can't have a conversation without me. If I don't participate in the conversation, there's no conversation. So
But
then,
what do they do
therefore,
though? They get right up in your face and everything, don't they?
yeah, they all in your face. I said, you can't have a
You
conversation
can't
without
do
me.
that. Yeah,
I said, I know me.
yeah,
I said, I know me. All that head shaking you doing, if you get mad at me, if you get mad and you say something to me out the way,
yeah.
there's no sorries tomorrow.
Nah, nah.
I said, so I'm trying to spare you me.
Yeah,
And they were like, but I said, there's no buts. We
yeah,
need to have a separate conversation when both of us are in a calm demeanor. So we have a better understanding.
yeah,
Just because you want to have it right now does not mean it's going to happen like that.
yeah, yeah. I see that a lot, but as far as conveying that to more people, because it's happening so much, so you can't target everybody, and you want to target everybody, but unfortunately, a lot of people that are in that mindset, in that darkness, are their ears are closed to listening. Like, you don't need to do that. It's going to lead you in the wrong direction. So,
Mhm.
what avenue do you think is a good avenue that to touch more people in that way to get them to understand?
That's a good question.
That's why
That's a
we're
good.
here. That's why we're here. Because
That's a,
if Go ahead, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, you go first. Go ahead.
Because if we talking, right?
Hmm.
And you have people, some may listen, some may not. Or some the ones that aren't listening, that's a done deal anyway. But the ones that are listening, if they're listening and they don't get it, that these things right here are a detriment to your life. If they
Hmm.
don't get it, then it's not changing anything. But if the people that are listening, whether it's whoever it is, if they get it, then they can teach somebody else. That's the only way
Right.
that I know or can think of that it's going to change.
Hmm.
Only way. Because most of the time, whether we believe it or not, if I have children, my children not going to want to hear, "Oh, you just my dad. You just my dad." That's just what you want to say. So,
Right.
but it could be somebody like Kev or somebody else that gets it, that see them out here in the streets and doing something or whatever the case may be, and say, "Hold up, excuse me, I'm not trying to interrupt or be whatever you want to say out of your mouth," and that may change them.
Right.
But if they're not getting it from more people, most people shy away from that kind of stuff. They
Right.
no, let me go this way. But is that helping or is that hurting?
Um. It's I understand the why they do it because they don't want to be part of the conflict,
Yeah,
but then shying away from it, they all it does is validates the person's toxic behavior
yeah,
because nobody's stopping them from doing it. And so they could continue to do it if they think it's okay.
yeah,
And so, but and like you said, it's not a lot of us who will probably step in and say anything because it's easier for them to step to go away and not put themselves in that situation
mhm,
than to try to like you said be the light
mhm.
and appear as and part of darkness. Um, and so that's if we get one person to be able to do that, we're doing good.
That's progress.
That's progress.
That's progress.
That's progress.
Yeah,
Because most people are not going to do it. They're just going to
yeah,
look at it, or they're going to turn their back, go to a different direction.
yeah.
Because they, 'cause a lot of people are fearful that, if they say something, then that person will come at them, and then depending on how their personality is, either they're gonna be, if they passive, they're gonna be upset because they put themselves in a situation, get cussed out,
Mm,
or if they're aggressive and the person say something to them crazy, then now they might have to go to jail or something, because now they don't have to fight them because they
yep,
felt disrespected. You see what
yep,
I'm saying? So I
yep.
think they tend to just, like, you know what, to keep me from getting myself in trouble, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
nothing.
The thing is, I think most people don't think that what they're doing is childish. So I try to think, okay, what does a child do? Most children, they want to, you have to feed them all the time. You got to take care of them all the time. If they cry, you got to pick them up. A lot of them, they want to get what they want. And when they don't, so if you think about how a child acts and then you see adults acting like that, you would think that adults would know, like, man, I'm acting like a child. Let me stop
Mhm.
what I'm doing. But when your mind is gone, when you're living in darkness and things like that, you don't even realize that you are acting like a child. And
And
it's a detriment to society.
it is, and then what's crazy too is, especially with the younger generation, is if you do say something. Let's say I'm in my work environment and they think I'm a cool person. So,
Yeah.
but yet, if I tell you you did wrong X, Y, Z, I go from being cool to the ops, because now I'm not going along with their behaviors.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like I said, so then, which I don't care. But I said, do you understand how childish that is?
Yeah.
I said, because you're telling you, what you say is, no one can go against you.
Yeah.
If no, if somebody go against you, then they're no longer with you.
Yeah.
And so they was like, well, either you're with me or you're not. I said, but it's not how you have to think, because that means nobody could tell you or give you a course correction when you're doing things wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, so you want everybody around you to be a yes person.
To be, yeah. And that's what I see so much, man. Like, if we read the book and we say we're a Christian country, we're supposed to read the book and understand it. We're not supposed to be doing a whole bunch of gossip. But regardless, we do it. Most people do it anyway, right? But when
Right.
you gossip, you hear people gossiping, they're telling their side of the story without the other party there. So when they're
Hmm.
talking to somebody, the mediator is the person there that they're giving information to. But you don't have the other person there to plead their case. So 9 times out of 10, the person that you're mediating to, which shouldn't be there and on your side, is automatically going to side with you. And you see them tag, and then they'll turn how they react to the other person, even if they know them, they'll act differently towards that person, even though they didn't have that person's side of the story. That's
Right.
childish.
Right.
It's so
It, it, it,
childish.
it, I had a situation where it was two. I watched these young adults have a disagreement, and the one young lady was friends with both girls. She was friends with both of them. The two other girls are going at it, and they tried to force her to pick a side. Not the side of, no. It's like, if you pick her side, I'm through with you.
I
The other
feel
one
what
said, if you
you-
pick her side, I'm through
yeah,
with you. I'm like, that's crazy to me.
yeah. Because what happened to you? You should know the truth. Know the truth, and the truth will make you free. If
Exactly.
the truth should be the side that you're on, not the truth of a lie and just picking a side. It's
Exactly.
crazy. It's so crazy, and it goes totally against what we're supposed to be doing here on planet Earth. It goes
Hmm.
strictly against that, and it's kind of like, how did we get here? What's going on? It makes me do a deep dive into, like,
So
what's the heck
then,
going on.
so then, what do we do if people are this how the mindset of the people, and now you're talking about trying to have relationships with another person, and they're not good at being told the truth. You know what I'm saying? So if they not used to being told the truth, how is that man or that woman gonna make the deal with that person when if they say something to them they don't like, it's gonna be an automatic argument. You know, they ready to break up with them because you're not saying what I want you to hear.
Well, what helped for me and what I was never taught was instead of if something is going on, don't just pop off with what you think in your mind. Go away, get in silence, and think it through.
Hmm.
Because when you do that, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to react like you want to react in the moment. You're going to
Yep.
come back and you're going to be a little bit more humble than you were if you were just a snapped off in that moment. That
Right.
alone would change so many things if we learn to just stop for a second. Like you said, you call it tabling, I call it just being silent.
Right.
When you're silent, all you can do is hear from God. Not listen. I don't want to have a conversation with you. I wouldn't tell nobody that. I just walk away and I just get quiet. Just don't say nothing. I'm really trying to hear clearly how to address you in a way where you don't look at it as being disrespectful. Because it's
Right.
not disrespectful. It's just me coming to you saying, what you did was wrong. Do you understand that?
Right.
Everybody deserves respect and love. That's what the whole book is, the respect and love and truth. So why is it that we have a hard time living like
Yeah,
that?
we have a hard time receiving the truth and telling the truth. We have a hard time um, being respected and giving respect. And a lot of times our love is conditional.
It's conditional, yeah. Most people's love is conditional. It's sad to say that, and it's hurtful to hear that most love is conditional, and it's not supposed to be like that.
Right. If I love you as my brother and you and I have an argument, my love for you should not decimate because of an argument.
Listen, Kevin, I'm not gonna have an argument with you. We might disagree, but that's just how we are. You're like, man, yeah, that's true or that's not true, and we move on. Well, if you don't, oh, that's not true. Well, what you think, Kev? That's not an argument to me. That's just a disagreement, and then we talk it
Right.
through.
Right.
But you don't get that. People ready to just pop off. I've had my own situations like this. And you're like, oh, okay, just because this person feels this way, hey, don't deal with him like that. I'm like, well, I'll ask people like, so what did I do to you? You didn't do nothing to us. Okay,
Right.
well, why you acting I've done you wrong. I found that in this world, in how we live now, people that speak the truth are the people that they call the devil. People
Hmm.
that lie are the people that they say, "Oh, that man right there. He's straight from God." Like what? How
Hmm.
did we get here? But when you go to the book, you understand, and it tells you that the truth will be looked at like a lie, and the lie will be looked at like the truth. We have it twisted.
I
It's
agree.
twisted.
And I agree because like they say how people saw you. It's like if I tell the truth or I hold you accountable, then I've been labeled mean. I'm the mean dude.
Yes.
I'm the mean dude because he gonna hold you accountable. He gonna tell you the truth. It's gonna be stuff that you don't want to hear. And so they just call me being mean. I said, okay, I'll be mean, but you already gonna know what it's gonna be. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you the truth. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hold you accountable.
Yeah. And that's how it should always be.
Right.
If that's what we call ourselves, if we say, okay, we're a Christian country, we're supposed to follow, Jesus. That's what everybody say. We're a Christian country. That's what we're supposed to follow. He always told the truth. So, and when we say we're a follower of him, we say we love him. Are we not supposed to be truthful all the time? It trips me out, man. And I was like, man, where and when, did it get twisted? You get to
Right.
the dark ages and everything and see, okay, I get it. I understand why people are confused,
Hmm.
why people don't
And
know
then
the book.
you'll see somebody who will probably put in the comments or they read it, watch this later, and will say, "Well, it's not about people telling the truth. It's just the delivery of the truth. But if we deliver it, the truth in love, you still gonna have a problem with it."
Yeah, and that's a hard one because I used to be straight, truthful, and it'll slice right down the middle. Like it'll be straight, hard.
Yeah.
But I had to
Yeah.
learn that most people are not receptive to you just cut me straight down the middle and I'm bleeding. Just
Yeah.
Stab me a little here, a little there. You know, I know I'm a bleeding, but at least I know I'm bleeding. I might can patch myself up. It's hard. It's hard because you want to get like,
Mhm.
man, hit it right now. Like, get free from that bondage that you got yourself in. If you're not living in truth, you're in bondage. That's simple. That's how I try to hit them. If you're not living in truth, you're living in bondage every single time, every single day, and you're enslaved to your own mind every single time. And until I had to go through my journey on my own, never being taught this, never grown up to see this, did I realize that is the most power that you can ever have.
Yeah. And what's to be true is the day we realize that we take full accountability of who we are and where we at in our lives, that's when we become free. Because then we have the power to change everything that we're doing.
Yep.
But as long as we allow other people to create narratives of the why we are who we are, then like you said, we're in bondage because then therefore they're dictating who we are instead of just us, being 100% accountable, saying this is me unapologetically. Yes, I'm wrong on X, Y, and Z, but now I have the power within myself to make the correct changes.
Yep.
And once we do that and take that power back, that's when you see the full greatness in you. Because now you can create the change.
Yep. And that's what it's all about. The greatness in you. If you're living in truth, and even though you telling people truth, and they may, you get people that don't want to deal with you no more because you were honest with them. But in that time, in that you started to become powerful. And you get away from old doctrines, you get away from all these other things that have been taught to you, and you find you. And when you find you, you don't want nobody to hurt. You don't want nobody to go through anything. You just want everybody to what? Be free, be truthful,
Yeah.
have joy, peace, and love in the world.
Right.
So when you understand that's who you are and you live like that, being truthful becomes really easy.
Hmm.
It becomes super easy because you know in your heart, which is your mind, you understand I want the best for everybody. As
Yep.
nobody has to tell you that you do or you don't. You know 100% that you want the best for everybody and you don't want to steal, kill, or take anything from anyone.
Right.
It becomes simple.
Because
Simple.
not want the best for everybody does not hurt them. It hurts me.
Yeah.
It's blocking my blessings.
Yep. Yep.
Because it's enough for all of us to be great.
Yep.
So then why don't we want all of our sisters and brothers to be great?
Yep.
I don't have to agree with you all the time, but because I don't agree with you all the time, or I might not agree how you move, does not mean you don't have the right to be great. And I
Yep.
should want you to be great.
Yep. So I have one that I know it's probably going to trigger some people. It's probably going
Hmm.
to. Hey, Kev, you can tell me if you want to table this one or not,
All right.
because I just, yeah. Do you think when we walk into these churches and places like that, and you see these people shouting and yelling and everything like that and getting out of control, is that being like a child or is that being like an adult, like a man? Listen, we are living in 2025, right? The thing about it
Mhm.
is, if we say we're a Christian country and who we believe in is Jesus, he died over 2,000 years ago. We have to have
Mhm.
these difficult conversations. If we don't have these difficult conversations, we just come here and just party and slay whatever we want to call it, and then we go on back home. But if we want to be like him, we got to talk about it. Real topics. And it's nothing against nobody, and it's not to make nobody else feel some kind of way. It's not to say, okay, you're a bad person because you do that. No, it's to edify each other.
For me, for me, um, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But I know I used to go to this church when I lived somewhere else, and it was like clockwork. Every time at this particular time, the person would start shouting. going down the aisle, you know, making all this noise. And for me, I felt like that was a performance. Because how is it that at every time at the same time you're gonna put on the same performance of shouting, run up and down the aisle at the same time? So how is it you catch the Holy Ghost at the same time every Sunday? You see what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like it felt like a performance.
Yeah.
And so my friends, now I tell that to my friends, they be mad at me like they'll say you going to hell, you the devil. Well, I said that's my perspective. I said you can't tell me y'all ain't thinking about that. That this person comes at the same time every week and pull the same performance.
But
Huh?
but we have to go back to what does a child act like, right? So
Mhm,
if a child most of the time when they don't get what they want, they act out of control.
mhm,
So when people do that, is that controlled or is that uncontrolled? Because I've seen instances where people have knocked people out, almost hurt people and things of that nature. That's what
mhm.
children do.
Right. And also children like a lot of attention.
Yeah,
And then therefore some people doing it because they want that attention.
want that attention. And it talks about peace be still. We are supposed to be controlled in what we feel and how we see and what we're hearing through our ears and seeing through be controlled in that. So that's why I'm like, man, where did this come from? Who started that? And see, David Hill said that's programming. That is so absolutely true, and I'm glad he said that. It's programming. We have been groomed to do it and react to what we see. Listen, I have family members, great friends, and all this stuff that I've left, went to war, came back. They're still in the same place, still doing shouting and everything else. I'm like, what is going on? It's because they've seen it from their parents, their grandparents, and everything else, and they're thinking that's how you're supposed to, I guess, prove the Holy Spirit.
Right. I'm gonna give you an example, and I hope my family ain't watching because they'll probably be mad at me, but I don't care. So, I wasn't there, but I heard from my father. So his sister passed away, and they ended up having it at one of their niece's churches. So she's pretty one of these big, Holy Ghost type churches, whatever. And the programming went a little bit it was going long. And then next thing you know, the praise dancers came out at a funeral, dog. And the
Oh,
praise dancers came out. My father said they started rolling on the floor. And he said when they started rolling on the floor when they doing part of that praise dancing, he bloody got up and walked out because he said, "What is the purpose of all this? You know, for a funeral? Is it because are we trying to say that um, even though she's leaving us, that the spirit is still here? What's the whole purpose and intention of that? But yeah, that it just I don't know.
yeah. We have to identify what does a child look like. It, man, it's right there for us, like saying like we're supposed to be men of strength, men of control, men of truth, men of really like having an understanding, wisdom, and things like that. Why is it that we don't have that? Why is it that most people, instead of going into the wilderness, what Jesus taught, so he can find his male strength, his true power within them? Why is it that now we are at a place where we're afraid to go to the wilderness and find our strength, which is a leader, and we want to be followers? Okay, if you say that's how it's supposed to be, and you say we're supposed to be shouting, instead of me putting thought to it and reading the book, let me just do it. It's called acting.
Hmm.
We're acting out something.
Hmm.
But we're talking about relationships here because that is a relationship. And the relationships can be detrimental to our families, our children, and whatever, and even ourselves. If you don't set yourself free and become a leader, which is becoming whole in your body, whole in your mind, knowing who you are. I can go on and not
And
being a child.
But see, that goes right back to what we discussed last week in the sense that, in order for us to be the leader that we're created to be, we got to be able to know who we are. And a lot of times we don't want to do the work within ourselves to figure out who we are because, you know, we got to be okay with who we are and be unapologetically that person and not be concerned that that person who we are is not enough for somebody else,
Yeah,
or it might be too much for somebody else. You just got to be okay with who you are. But I think a lot of people are too scared of that.
yeah. And I don't understand
We,
that. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I was just reading. So, C. David Hill said many people who go to church don't read the word; they only get the teachings from the pastor. They don't go read for themselves. And I agree.
Man, we need to see David Hill on this one, man, because that is so true. And this is what's the craziest thing about it. I'm giving some information out here that I don't know if it's gonna be a stone at me or what. But if we read the book, who was God writing the book for? Who was he talking to? He was talking to the pastors and he was talking to the priests. He was talking to them and telling them, all these people that think they're high minded, let my people go. Stop holding them down, thinking that they have to do these things when I want them to find that it was within them. Why are you keeping them from doing it? And Jesus even told us, said, man, you don't even know how to go in, neither do you allow those that want to enter to go in. What is that saying? That people become followers instead of leaders. Leaders of yourself first. Leaders of yourself first, then leaders of your family, then you can go on and on. So when I see things on TV or news now saying, somebody's one of these leaders or something has committed adultery and all this other stuff, it saddens me. It saddens me because I think about all the people, not him. I think about all the people that was following this person, and that person said, "Man, yeah, I'm the man. I know. I hear directly from him." And their years have passed. Some of them be 65, 50 years old, and half their life is gone following what? This man that said he knew the way. It's hurtful and it's
Mhm.
sad and it's childish. It just go back to brothers and sisters, right? Most of the time in most families, the oldest child want to, tell the other, the other kids, this is what you do, and do this and do that. Nine times, a lot of times, they're not telling them to do what's right what's right. But think of it in that perspective,
Mhm.
and it's most of the time for attention. Until we realize they want attention, and the attention should be focused on yourself. We're going to be stuck in the same cycle year after year, generation after generation, time after time, world after world, age after age, however we want to say it. We're stuck. And the thing is, we're supposed to be doing something here on earth, but look at the fruits, man. Look at
Mhm.
the fruits, man. How many people are in bondage, in slavery, that don't love themselves, that hate themselves, that disgrace one of their own family members for being higher and thinking higher.
Mhm.
Just think about the numbers.
Yep.
I look at numbers, man. I was looking up at divorce. Caucasian family, 15% of Caucasian families have divorce. 30.8% of African American families have divorce. That's crazy to me. That's
Mhm.
crazy to me. Why I say it's crazy to me? Because in the minority culture, we go more to learn about biblical scriptures probably than anybody else. So why
Yep.
are our numbers so bad compared to anybody else?
Because I think now people go to marriage for the wrong intentions. And with divorce, the divorce has made it so easy for them to give up instead of just you know trying to work it through. Because nobody ever said marriage was easy. It's a relationship, and you putting two people together, so you still learning each other. But then too, you know, a lot of times we are no longer building relationship by the foundation of friendship first, and then take it to the next level. Once it's like we going straight to the sex, and then from there we built it off of that. Then we had this true friendship.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go back to what C. David Hill said. And I can only speak for my situation,
Mhm.
because I was married before. And my thought process was, okay, that's what you see everybody, that's what they're doing. You just get married. That's what we all do. And not thinking through what marriage is, how it's supposed to be, whatever. But, we're supposed to get married. A man and a woman are supposed to be married. But everything around me, all the people around me, yeah, they were married, but they were cheating. They were fighting each other and all these other things. So without me thinking, that's what I became. I
Mhm.
became it without thinking. I call it darkness. I call it, being blind and can't see, whatever you want to call it. But that's who I was and what I was because I didn't take the time for me to really realize or even have someone to teach me what it is. What is a relationship like and how it's supposed to be? What is it really supposed to be like? Not what you think it's supposed. What is it really supposed to be about? Become one together. If you build a marriage that's strong and become one, man, straight up, hands down, you don't have arguments. You have peace in your home. You might have disagreements. You agree to disagree, but it's not an argument. You realize those little things that most people are arguing about don't even have value anyway. I had a buddy, him and his wife arguing. They were arguing about who keeping the shower curtain open, who wants to shut it closed. Like, why are we having arguments about things that really don't matter? Really don't matter at the end of the day.
No.
To the edifying of people in the world. A lot of this stuff doesn't matter. It brings no value to people's minds. It brings no value to people's souls. It brings no value to people's families and everything else. It's a
So
it's Go
I
ahead.
want your opinion on why do you think in our community now that people are less and less entitled to getting married? It's not as a big of an option or something they really want to do now compared to back in the day.
Listen, I think a lot of, the newer age, are coming to the truth, realizing they're seeing it and seeing it for what it is. I talked to them. I'm like, they were like, nah, I don't want to do that because I've seen so and so and so, and they were like this. Nah, I don't want to do that. I'd rather wait. They're visually having a better understanding because unlike a lot of people, they didn't have the knowledge and you might have a book, but most people don't want to, read a book. But now they have all the information in front of them and they're watching and observing. Like, I think I can wait. I can wait for it because I have in my mind that this is going to end up bad and I don't want to do it. And I can understand that. I can understand why they would rather wait than get married and then have a kaboom and you 40, 50 years old and then you got to start all over. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. You got women now, getting divorced at 50s, 60s, going to different countries to meet men. Nine times out of 10, probably having sex and stuff like that. But why? How? What is the problem? And I think that most people don't know why they're even here. If you don't know why you're here, you're guaranteed to have a separation. That's why it talks about have a house divided against itself will not stand. And you can look at it a ton of ways.
Mhm.
A house divided against itself will not stand. If you divide it against yourself, you can't stand. And if you get married, and if you're not standing with yourself, and you get married to someone else, and they're not holding standing, their house is divided, which is their body and their mind, you're guaranteed to have some issues there. And it trickles all the way down to your children. And a lot of people are like, why my children don't do better? Because they didn't see better. They didn't see
Mhm.
better.
Yeah. So that's a good one. That's a good one. So my question for you is there, um, I'm gonna throw it to you. How can we make this a better situation when it comes down to adults not acting as children in relationships? What can we do? Where can we start it at?
Being the example. It's hands down. being the example. See, I was having a conversation with someone, I think sometime this week. I was like, so many people want other people to change, but they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and change. It's interesting to me. Like yourself, for instance, I have parents that come to me like, hey, speak to my child, da 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 da. He needs to change. I don't know what he's doing, whatever. And the first thing I asked them, when was the last time you changed?
Right.
It's hard to say this, but this is how the mind works. I had to tell a parent, like, most of the time, parents are looking at their parents and judging their parents, which it shouldn't be that way. So if they're
Yeah.
looking at you and they're judging you, they're looking at you like, even though they may not tell you that, they're looking like, man, you ain't did nothing with your life. What can you tell me? You don't know no more. You don't know anything. So we have to be the example. That's the only way. And it starts at home.
Yeah.
That's why I have an issue with people giving so much of their time away instead of giving their time to their home. Getting biblically, grounded and then leading from that way. Most people want to go, I want attention, I want to lead, whatever. In your household, you're not straight. If you're married, your wife not straight. And then if you and your wife not straight, 9 times out of 10, your children not gonna be straight. Guaranteed. Starts at home. Be the example. Not telling, but doing.
They're doing.
Yeah. I have
Because
conversations with my daughter all the time, Kev. She's like, Daddy, how did you change? What happened to you? And that's when I open up the door and give it to her. Okay. And they want to know instead of forcing it down their throat. Boom, 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 boom. You know?
she probably wanted to know because she probably watched you become the change.
Yeah.
And so from there, she was intrigued to ask you because if you didn't change, she wouldn't have cared.
Nope.
But you changed and you was the example
Yep.
of the change. So then therefore she wants to see what was the mindset that you had to go into
Yep.
to create that change for yourself. Because
Yep.
now she might want to make some changes in herself. And so she sees you as the best example because she saw the change in you.
Yep. Every single time, hands down, it will work.
Mhm.
And so
Especially if you're a parent, because the kids are always watching you. And so then therefore what you see is what you be. So
yep.
if they could see the transformation in their father or they can see the transformation in their mother,
Yep.
then you're teaching them what's possible.
Yep. Yep.
So then if my parents could do it and my parents are doing it, then I could do it too.
Yep.
But my parents can't tell me what to do and how to be if they're not doing themselves.
Yep.
That's when you lose them.
Yep. And so that it hurts me to see people in their 60s and older still acting like children. Like life is over. Like they don't have no more significance in life. I'm like, who told you that lie? Who gave you that view of life? No, you still have significance in the world if you have breath in your body. So if
Mhm.
you're 60 some years old, yeah, you may have acted like a child from 1 all the way up to you of 59. But now is the time for you to change and become and put away childish things and become something different. And I guarantee you your children are going to see it. I told a lady before, I said, when you change, everything around you is going to change. Every
Mhm.
single thing around you is still to this day, she hasn't changed, and everything around her is still in chaos.
Mhm. And it's because some people are fear of change because they fear um, the unknown of what that change is going to bring to them. They fear that when they change, like you said, because you said it, once you change, everything around you change. So
Everything
that
around.
also so that means people around you going to change as well,
Yep.
because everybody that you around may not be part of your next part of your journey.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times people are scared of that as well because they don't want to lose their current friends.
Yep.
But you know that your current established friends was only good for you at this part of your season because it's who you are.
Yep.
Once you like you said, once you change and become a different version of you, you have to then be open to receiving new friends and new relationships because they are going to be in alignment with who you are.
Yep. Yep. That's why it tells us in the book about becoming a new man. And when you become a new man, old things pass away. Whether it's your children, whether it's old marriages, and all these things, they pass away. What I have, you see a lot of people today, they're having difficulty, especially a lot of older parents, having difficulty shedding that relationship. I ain't gonna say I'm not. I guess for lack of better words, I'm gonna say relationship. Shedding that relationship with a child that's being detrimental to them. So they'll rather hold on to a relationship with a child that probably is not going to change because the evidence has shown that their child is not going to change. They'd rather hold on to that detrimental child, which is causing detriment to their life, instead of moving on and say, "Man, let me change." And I hope in me changing, it's going to have an effect on the detriment to that person's life.
Right.
They can't let go. But we say we believe in God. And we say God is going to come through and God's going to do great things. But we always got that you are being the mediator between God and that, helping that person.
Yep.
It's not
And
going to
I,
work.
and I, and I and I had posted something recently saying, are you trying to be in control of what he wants for you, or are you going to be in alignment with him, what he wants for you? Because a lot of times we want to be in control of everything, our friendships, our relationships, where we work at, and our everything, and it might not be what he wants for us.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Every single
so
time.
you gotta be obedient and be in alignment with him. And then when he opened that door for something that you might not even thought it was for you, you gotta go through it because this is what he wants for you.
Yep. And it's hard.
It
Trust
is.
me. It's super hard. But on the other side of breaking through that wall, you become like a rock. And it tells, and I read the book when it says, upon this rock I'll build my church, kind of thing. It's talking about strength. You in your body, in your mind, in your soul is the church. You become like a rock where nothing detrimental to that body, to the mind, can come in and break you down.
Right.
Nothing. Whether it's mother, father, sister, brother, whoever is closer to you cannot break you down. Period. That's what the whole concept of it is. But we find a lot of people having difficulty coming out of the bondage into seeing the light. And I'm like, man, it's hurtful because we are children of light. So why is it that we don't want to receive the light if we're children of light and rather live in darkness? And all we got to do is look up the word entertainment. Entertainment. I'm
Mhm.
going to taint your mind. So when your mind is tainted, I'm good. I got
Mhm.
you every time. Every time. Because when you entertain somebody that's going through your eye gate, going through your ear gate, I can contain you however I want to. That's the truth, man. And I hope this truth sets someone free. Because, and not until I got away from the entertainment. I love entertainment, man. Trust me, I do. But as there comes a point in your life when you see everything around you that's destructive, that's not going right, that's not doing, you feel like, okay, something is not on your side. Well, you have to step away from it so you can have control and you're not contained in that mindset, in that bondage anymore. So have a relationship with yourself. Don't act like a child. Be a
Right.
man. Be a woman. I know in the book it says a lot about men, 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 men. When it says a man, it means a woman too. Be strong in who you are. Don't let your emotions, our emotions today are gone amok. Crazy. And that's acting like a child. So become like a man, become like a woman, a wife, a husband, and however you want to look at it, which is strength and which is power, which is control, and seeing the light. Once the light comes on, the light can't go off. It will not go off. And your life will be better. Guaranteed. Every single time. Doesn't mean you don't have struggles. Doesn't mean you don't have something may come up. But it's to teach you something,
Right.
continually grow until we what reach that Christ within. Once you reach the Christ within, man, listen, is it.
Exactly.
So, Kev, that's all I have, man. You can
So I
close
have.
with something that's encouraging for the people.
So thank you for tuning in for another episode of El Liberators. If you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok, please like, share, and subscribe. So when we are come back again next week the same time, you are notified that we are coming on. Please like, share, and subscribe. The more people who get to see this video, the more we are able to touch somebody. And our whole intentions this year in 2025 is to touch as many people as possible so we can all get healed and become the best version of ourselves. So with that being said, we say peace.
And one more thing before you go out, Kev. If you have
Uh,
a topic that you would like us to talk about that's very controversial, very that we need to hear or people need to hear, make sure you let us know and we'll break it down for you and possibly help people or whatever the case may be. So
absolutely.
yeah. So until the next time, we want to thank everybody for joining us, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Until the next time,
Peace.
peace.